Good morning, everyone. We are the Group 1. And I am Kerry Sigfred Duriano Giri.
I am Masood Simpan.
I am Abdul Rahman Ismail.
I am Nakul Jawadji.
And I am John Police Ulra. And our topic for today is chemical bonding.
Our learning outcomes of our topic is define the chemical bond. Second is describe the two types of chemical bonding. And third, classify compounds as ionic or covalent. First is chemical bond, a process which elements combine to form a compound.
Chemical bond is which two elements combine. In the form of a compound, we combine hydrogen and oxygen that makes H2, which means water. Example of the chemical bond.
Second is bond energy. Energy required to break a chemical bond.
So for this example, for bond energy, consequently, breaking a chemical bond requires an input of energy, which kailangan natin ng malakas na energy, which is like the sun. Bond energy is the energy required to break a covalent bond between two atoms.
Now, this is the first type of chemical bonding. Ionic bonding. Ionic compound result when a metal reacts with a non-metal and electrons are transferred.
So, as we say, the ionic bonding, which is also called electrovalent bond, type of linkage formed from the electrostatic attraction between oppositely charged ions in a chemical compound. Such a bond forms when the valence outermost electrons of one atom are transferred permanently to another atom. The atom that loses the electrons become positively charged, which means ion, while one that gains then becomes a negatively charged ion, which is anion. A brief treatment of ionic bonds follows. So, as you can see, the example is the metal plus the non-metal. They shared electrons. When the metal, the electrons of metal transfer to non-metal, the result of the reaction is ionic compound. For example, Na, which means sodium, the metal. For example, the sodium, which is the metal, and the chlorine, which is the non-metal. And if we combine each of them, the result of the reaction is ionic compound. That is the ionic bonding.
This is the other definition of ionic bonding. Electrons are transferred between valence shells of atoms. Ionic compounds are made of ions.
Okay. Electrons are transferred between valence shells of atoms. Valence shells means it is the outermost shell of the very element of every element of the periodic table, outermost. So it's important to know that what is the valence shells of every element when we combine to know the valence shells of two elements. And then Gilbert Newton.
It invented of electron dot formulas or Lewis structures.
Okay. This is Gilbert Newton, which he invented the electron dot and formulas or Lewis structure. We will know if which these elements belong, and this dot. Example, hydrogen. Hydrogen is belong to group 1, so he have only one dot, and carbon, it belong in group 4, so he have 4 dot. Also in oxygen, oxygen is belong to group 6, so he have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 dots. And chlorine belong to group 7, so he have dot of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7. Okay, and the last is the Ne. He belong to neon. He have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dots.
This is the other example of ionic bonding. As we can see, the sodium is have a one dot or one in one group, plus the chlorine is in 7 dot, which is in 7 group. If we combine it, the sodium, we transfer it into chlorine. Na plus chlorine, it will the one that if you combine the negative electrons, it combine the ionic compound is NaNCl. This is the other example of ionic bond. We can use the valence electrons to predict the ions that are formed when atoms react. Example is the aluminum 3 plus and chlorine negative.
Okay. This is the other example. So when we determine when the atoms react to the other elements, we should transfer electrons of aluminum to the fluorine. Okay. Aluminum is belong to the group 3. So here 3 dot 1, 2, and 3. And fluorine have negative that which is Ng belong to the group 6. And we put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's I mean 7. So when we transfer it like this, it's the same to the first example that we have given. So the formula is aluminum positive 3 plus 3. So this will happen. So the ionic compound of aluminum that we transfer the electrons of aluminum to the chlorine, it became the AlF3.
So this is the another type of chemical bonding, which is the covalent bonding. So the covalent bonding are created by sharing of electrons and are between a non-metal and non-metal. Create covalent or molecular compounds. So the covalent bonding are created by sharing electrons, like the ionic bonding. And the difference of covalent bonding from the ionic bonding, which is they shared electrons between non-metal to non-metal, which is the same, and create covalent or molecular compounds.
Okay, covalent bonding. Rolanda said that covalent bonding is created by sharing. By the word sharing, we share electrons. So when two carbon combine, it shares and it have 2 dots because it's connect. So sharing have 2 dots. So and hydrogen. That is sharing. So other one is covalent bonding is create covalent or molecular compound. So this is the 2 compounds or elements. So when you bring it down, it becomes 2, the hydrogen and hydrogen, which means HH and H2. It means H2 because they share. And in covalent bonds, electrons are shared, just I say. So this is other example of covalent, how we get more it, to know more it. Methane, which is the carbon and hydrogen 4. This is the Lewis structure that we use. But they are the same, but they have different some of letters and dots. Example is this is chlorine is belong to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Carbon is belong to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 group. So we put hydrogen in 4 because carbon is belong to the group in the periodic table. So yeah, because of the sharing of electrons, it became 4 and it combined. So it became this. The covalent bonding code is the methane, which is CH4. Other example is phosphorus, chlorine, and F. P plus 3 and F to negative 1. The which cause covalent bonding is PF3. We identify what is the valence shells of every element. So when you add this, it becomes when you solve it, it becomes P, F, and 3.